So you're welcome back to Business Focus, your weekly business and economic analysis program. Gone by is the Mover segment. We're going to begin with our next discussion, and we understand the central bank has proposed to up the minimum capital requirements of commercial banks in the country from the current 120 million cedis to what we understand is some 300 million cedis in a bid to enhance the consolidation of efforts by banks to undertake big ticket transactions. We've been joined on the phone lines now by Nana Otue Champon. Is a banking consultant at the Osetu, the Second Center for Executive Education. In the studio also is Winslow Sakifio, his stock analyst. Winslow, thank you very much for your time. Let me just get on the phone lines now and begin with Nana. Nana, is this just a smart move by the central bank to just limit the operations of some banks?
To do what? Limit? Come again.
Hello, Nana. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, I was asking if this whole move by the central bank to raise the minimum capital is just a smart move by the central bank to limit the operations of some banks.
Well, the idea to increase the minimum capital is long overdue, but and in no circumstance is the regulator telling us that they are doing that to limit the number of banks coming in. Because as we have said over and over again, banks are coming in after they have done an appraisal to see that there is a positive return on their investment. So even if there is raised to 1 million, 100 million, and they do it and it is positive return, then they will come. But one of the reasons why the central bank or the regulator is increasing is because of the increasing risk that banks face all over the globe. And therefore, the minimum capital is a buffer, more or less like a shock absorber, to be able to withstand any shock that unanticipatedly it will come in the sector. So that is the primary aim of the increase in minimum capital requirements rather than using it as a tool to limit entry or raise entry barrier for people to come into the sector.
Already we understand there are a number of requests that are before the central bank for them to operate as banks, which is yet to be, granted. But even before that, we also understand the central bank has granted a number of waivers to some of the banks to maintain it at 60 million cedis. Moving forward, what options are open for the banks that would have to up their capital?
Well, that one, once they decide that the systemic risk the industry faces with the small capitals that they have, once they increase, then if you want to remain as a bank, a universal bank for that purpose, then you have no option but to increase. And in increasing, you've got one of two options available to you. Either you find the extra capital by yourself, or you decide to marry another bank and raise the capital, assuming it is raised to 300 million and presently it's 120 and you can't raise it. You find two others and together you're able to raise it. So it could be another way of consolidating the small type of banks that we have in the system now.
But as somebody who studied operations within the banking industry, looked at best practices from elsewhere, is this the way to go?
It is the way to go. It is the way to go because for a long time, the capitals have been too small to deal in the emerging type of economy that we have. As we are all aware, we are now emerging into an oil economy. And doing an oil deal doesn't call for Mickey Mouse banking. It has to be serious banking. And so then we need some 4 or 5 big banks, and the rest can remain as they are. But in terms of big banks, we do need it in the country.
Already, Nana, we are beginning to talk about mobile money banking and its potential impact on banking operations. If we are going to further, up the minimum capital, which will mean that a lot more of the smaller banks would have to be swallowed, and there's going to be a lot of measures and acquisitions, wouldn't that further shrink the number of workers in the banking industry?
Not necessarily. The fact that you combine two operations does not necessarily lead to redundancies. We saw the example of EcoBank and Trust Bank. They merged, or one took over the other, and they maintained the same level of staff strength. So it's not always that when you combine, you reduce, because the combined operations can increase to heightened activity, and therefore you rather need more and not less staff. So I think the mobile banking, or mobile money, I should say, mobile money coming into the system is only going to make it more interesting, because right now the mobile money is complementing what the universal banks are doing. So they are not taking away business from the banks at all. Rather, they are complementing. People who would not otherwise have access to financial services and have now got the opportunity to access financial services. And in fact, from the perspective of the World Bank, they encourage mobile money as a way of what you call bringing more people into the financial services system, because most of them are excluded because of sometimes illiteracy, lack of education is one. The other is lack of big amounts of money. But now, with any small amount that you can send through mobile money, it is, including those that you would have otherwise neglected. So mobile money is complementing what banking is doing, and not trying to destroy banking at all.
All right. Thank you very much. Nana Otoe-Champon is head of an Executive Education Center at the Osei to the Second Center for Executive Education. We appreciate your time very much on this subject.